Something that I don't think gets enough attention is just how much of an impact the Dungeon Master has on a campaign. The DM, or GM in more general terms, really makes all the difference. A campaign can survive a bad player. It happens all the time. But a campaign will not survive a bad GM. There are many ways in which someone could be a bad GM or a good GM. It could be just a matter of their experience level. It could be a matter of their attitude. One GM is a control freak, while another GM lets the players have freedom. One GM imposes a bunch of stupid house rules, while another GM uses only those house rules that are well considered and actually enhance the style of the campaign. We could say that there are different levels of GM. Just as characters gain levels over time, so does GM. You learn from the experience you gain. So let's start at the mucky bottom of F tier and work our way up to the glorious heights of S tier. For each tier, I'm going to present two versions, the positive version and the negative version. F tier, positive version, the novice, aka the newborn. You've never really GM'd before. Maybe you've seen someone else run a game in person or on the internet. You have an idea for an adventure, so let's go. You get together with friends and attempt to have a cohesive experience. It's messy. Really messy. But whatever. You play around with an element or two, and it's cool. It's like you're in your own video game or your own show. You weave a little thread, and that thread is connected to something big that you can just barely see. You get just a glimpse. There's this huge world, but you can only make out little bits of it. The RPG books have these endless pages of text that describe rules and options and mechanics and systems and lore, and well, no need to worry about all that. The positive version of F tier is just plain and simple a GM with no experience. The game may barely even resemble a game due to the sheer lack of knowledge. F tier in the negative version, the torturer, aka the plague spewer. Your game is a cruel punishment that you inflict upon the players. Anytime there is the slightest chance that they might enjoy their characters or play out some creative idea, you shoot it down. You provide no helpful alternatives, no support. You use a harsh tone of voice, as though a brat throwing a temper tantrum, or maybe someone arguing with an enemy that they despise. Underneath it all, there's this sense that you have some kind of desperation, some deep-seated misery, and that toxic cloud spreads throughout every scene you run. D tier, positive version, the Apprentice, aka the Starstruck. You have discovered a world of high adventure and limitless possibilities. It does get overcomplicated at times, though. You get a lot of rules wrong, and you constantly forget things. Your combat encounters go really slow, and overall, there's just too much to remember. The players goof around a lot at the table, and there's a bunch of side talk, and the energy level is just inconsistent. There are disagreements over rules, but they don't last too long. Everyone's just kind of figuring things out as they go. You've also watched more experienced GMs run the game, and wow, they are amazing. Their worlds are rich and detailed. Their NPCs have personalities. Their monsters have goals, and somehow they seem stronger. Perhaps most impressive is how they know so much about the rules, and they are tapped into this long-running heritage of lore. It's like they're part of some great tradition or some secret club of lore masters. You have quickly become a huge fan. The inspiration and ideas you get fuel your own adventures, which, although more rudimentary, are actually quite a lot of fun. You hope that someday, somehow, you can become one of those great GMs. D tier, negative version, the Brute, aka the Tyrant. Your game, your rules. It's your way or the highway. D&D, or whatever the system happens to be, is a piece of crap, but you know how to do it right. Entire chunks of the system are ripped out or radically altered as you will it to be. You call all the shots. Are your alterations the results of careful consideration? Of consulting with players and reflecting upon their input? Of months and months or even years of testing and revision and development? Nope. Sure, there are some cool scenes here and there, and at least your group does get to actually play the game, but in the end, the whole experience is manipulated to death by your ego. C tier. Positive version, the journeyman, aka the rebel. At this point, you think you know what you're doing. You think you have a solid grasp of the game's inner workings, and you house rule and ban everything that threatens your precious grasp on the game. Your adventures are getting more mature, a little more advanced, but more than ever before, your sessions are punctuated with bickering. You wish the players would just understand that you are the game master. In reality, you're actually just a teenager in GM years. You are forming your own opinions, you're experimenting with lots of ideas. Tragically, you're largely blind to your own shortcomings. You probably won't follow the guidance of more experienced GMs either. Yes, this is the positive version of C tier. It's an awkward, experimental, wacky, adolescent-like phase, and you just have to get through it. C tier, negative version, the stale bread, aka the weakling. You have some decent bearings on how to run the game. Your knowledge of how many of the rules and systems work is pretty good, definitely good enough to reliably run the game for just about any group. But the problem is, your game is just boring. It's dull, it's lifeless, it's passionless, it's predictable and safe and just lukewarm. The players come like hungry customers at a restaurant, hoping to sample surprising, captivating, challenging foods from another part of the world, and instead you serve them microwaved corn dogs. B tier, positive version, the expert, aka the artisan. You cringe looking back at how you thought you knew everything, but you made it across the rickety bridge from newcomer to experienced gamer. You feel a sense of balance between the rebellious experimentation of your GM adolescence and the security of being a veteran. You have led a few long-running campaigns by this point. You've seen characters span the wondrous journey from the lowest levels to the highest, then started anew with a fresh storyline and new characters. You've learned so much, and now you can legitimately claim to be a creator. One of the best things is that players recognize your skill as a GM. They can tell that you know what you're talking about, and that your adventures take them beyond the mediocre and the wonky. Along with your abilities, your reputation has grown, giving you the luxury of selecting from pools of willing players. B tier, negative version, the blowhard, aka the wannabe. You are a B tier GM, so your adventures are good quality in certain key ways, but you know what? You're not quite as amazing as you think you are. You act as though you are the indisputable know-it-all when it comes to RPGs. You've fallen into the same trap that so many do. You get good in one or two areas, then you foolishly think that that makes you good in all areas. But you're not. You talk a big talk, you wield your cocky opinions, but really, you're just a wannabe master. A tier, positive version, the master, aka the flowing river. Your adventures are pretty much everything a gamer could ask for. Interesting plots and settings, memorable NPCs, compelling villains, dynamic dungeons, and so much more. You set such a rich and fun stage that the players sometimes amuse themselves for hours, exploring and poking and prodding, and they love it. This is what everyone always wanted. That sense of freedom, that feeling of choices actually mattering. Speaking of freedom, you laugh about how you used to worry about everything being overpowered. You've let go of being a micromanager and you focus instead on creating interesting challenges, intriguing plots, and an immersive world. Your adventures inspire, ignite, and immerse. After years of dedication to your craft, after several campaigns full of lessons learned, you finally reach a state of flow. Then that old sense of wonder comes back to you, that childlike awe of unraveling the thread of something mysteriously vast, and you end up right where you began, now able to see the place fully, whereas before, you caught only little glimpses. A tier, negative version, the Paranoid King, aka the Self-Destructor. Your adventures are undeniably fantastic. Your skills as a GM are really high, and you can even earn a decent amount of money if you apply your skills in a business sense. What you create is indeed awesome, and people love it. For now. But what if they stop loving it? What if someone new comes along? Someone more enticing, someone who steals your audience's attention away. You've built up so much of yourself in this image, this excellent image, but inside, you're racked with anxiety and pressure. You can't let these awful burdens weigh upon anyone else. You have to keep everything under wraps. What happened to that simple, fun, imaginary game? What happened to that childlike sense of wonder? S tier, the Grandmaster, aka the Legend. A Grandmaster is an extremely rare soul. This level represents those individuals who have honed their craft over many years and thousands upon thousands of hours of practice. They understand things that few others do. They have insight, vision, natural talent, and what some would call incredible luck. They have the right idea at the right place and the right time. Is it luck or is it destiny? Whatever the case, this grandest level is a master among masters, a creator whose work goes beyond local social circles and small-scale followings. This is someone who goes beyond the game's limits and discovers this unexplored territory full of wondrous new possibilities. An innovator, a true artist, and, in the bleakest of times, a savior that helps bring the game back from the brink of collapse. The Grandmaster will be known by a great many, and his legacy will live on, influencing and enriching others long after he is gone. In other words, a legend. If you are considering becoming a GM, or even just thinking about running a single session, I encourage you to go for it. RPGs are such that if you let them, they can get stuck in an endless speculation loop inside your head. As much as concepts can bring about amazing content, the real experience is actually playing the game yourself. The living session, at the table, on the VTT, or however you find it best to connect with your group. In your first few sessions, you're probably going to flop about like a fish out of water, except that you are stepping into shoes that are too big for you to fill. Just like a little kid who picks up his dad's guitar for the first time. It's awkward, it's mind-boggling, and it's suddenly quite mysterious how anyone can create such great works from it. But you hit those notes, and you feel the vibrations emanating from within. There's something powerful and deep going on here. It's going to flow better if you just don't overthink it, don't psych yourself out, dive in, delve in. Just enjoy the messy charade that is the early levels of GMing. You're going to enjoy it if you just let yourself. And maybe you'll hear the call to keep GMing, and you'll grow and level up and fill in those big shoes. Then you'll be walking along with the footsteps of legends. Thanks everyone for watching. If you got something out of this video, make sure to check out the links down in the video description. You can sign up for a free monthly newsletter that I publish, or support the channel on Patreon. That comes with some great exclusive rewards. On that note, I have to say a big special thanks to all my patrons, most especially Adam Wood, Vince Villeli, Nick Thy Pirate King, Locke Monroe, Nicholas A., and Lucius Tenebri. You guys put wind in my sails. Until next time, my brave companions, make sure to say thank you to your GMs. They will really appreciate hearing that. And as always, may your adventures be many.